Alright, this video is going to go over the Exam 3 review sheet, questions 1 through 4. And on questions 1 through 4, we're either simplifying, multiplying, or dividing rational expressions. And really, we're just relying heavily on that factoring that we learned in the last couple units. So the first one says simplify, and when we look at the numerator, we see that we have 4 terms. And we know when we see 4 terms, we're going to be factoring by grouping. So I'm going to group this numerator into 2 binomials. And then look for the GCFs. So we have xy minus 7x. Our GCF is going to be x, which would leave us with a y minus 7. And in the second fraction, or in the second binomial, we have 2y minus 14. And the GCF of those two is 2. And when I divide 2y by 2, I'm left with y. And when I divide negative 14 by 2, I'm left with negative 7. Now let's continue on with this numerator and simplify it. My common binomial is y minus 7. And when I take that out, I'm left with x plus 2. Alright, in the denominator, we have y squared minus 49, which we should recognize as the difference of 2 squares. Now remember, when you factor the difference of 2 squares, we factor that into conjugates, which means a plus and a minus. So y squared, to get y squared, we need y times y. And to get negative 49, we need positive 7 times negative 7. I'm going to copy that over here. Y plus 7, y minus 7. Now this is the best part. You get to start canceling. So I see that I have y minus 7 in both the numerator and the denominator, so I can cancel those out. And whatever's left, that is my answer. X plus 2 over y plus 7. Number 2, again, is asking us just to simplify. In the numerator, we have a trinomial. And so we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to 18 and add to 9. So remember, we would write down 18, list the factors, and then look through our list of factors until we find the group that adds to a positive 9. So if we take positive 3 plus 6, that'll add to give us a positive 9. So in the numerator, we can write it as x plus 3 and x plus 6. Now our denominator, 5x squared plus 15x, we should look at that and recognize that we have a greatest common factor. Both of those terms can be divided by 5. They can also be divided by x. So when I take 5x squared and divide it by 5x, that leaves me with x. And when I take 15x and divide it by 5x, that leaves me with 3. And now we're down to the best part where we get to cancel. We can cross off the x plus 3. And whatever's left over is our answer. X plus 6 over 5x. Question 3, it's asking us to multiply, but really multiplying is going to be no different than just simplifying. We're going to factor everything, and then we're going to cross out what we can in the numerators and denominators. So first, in the numerator, we have 2x squared minus 12x, so we should recognize that we have a GCF. Both of those can be divided by 2x. When I divide those by 2x, I'm left with an x minus 6. All right, in the denominator, we have x squared minus 36, which we should recognize as a difference of 2 squares. Remember, we just talked about, we factor that into conjugates, a plus and a minus. X times x gives us x squared. 6 times negative 6 gives us negative 36. All right, in our next numerator, we have a trinomial. So we know that we are looking for the factors of 24, really a negative 24, that are going to add to 2. So we list our factors, 1 and 24, and you guys might be past the point where you have to actually list the factors out. But I'll continue to do that for you. 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Remember, we're looking for the factors that give us a positive 2. So that's going to be a positive 6 minus 4. So we can write that in our numerator, x minus 4, x plus 6. All right, and then finally in our denominator we have 3x cubed plus 6x squared, and again we should recognize that we have a greatest common factor, and both of those terms can be divided by 3x squared. So when I take 3x cubed and divide it by 3x squared, I'm left with x. And when I take 6x squared and divide by 3x squared, I am left with 2. All right, for the best part, let's cancel. We can cancel out our x minus 6. We can cancel out our x plus 6. Now, we also need to look at this 2x and this 3x squared. We can actually take an x out of both of those terms. So when I take an x out of 2x, that leaves me with just 2. And when I take an x out of 3x squared, that leaves us with 3x. So now we can just write what we have left. In the numerator, we have a 2 left, and we also have x minus 4. In the denominator, we have 3x, and we have x plus 2. And that's it. Last one, question number 4 asks us to divide. Now when we divide fractions, remember we need to multiply by the reciprocal. And in simple terms, that means let's change it to multiplication. And we need to flip our second fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so same thing, we're going to start the factoring process. So first, in the numerator, we have a trinomial. So we're looking for the factors of 8 that add to negative 6. So we have 1 and 8, 2 and 4. So in order to get negative 6, we're going to have to use the 2 and the 4, and both of them must be negative. So I'm going to write that now in my numerator. Remember, you're only flipping the second fraction. X minus 2, x minus 4. All right, now beneath that, in the denominator, we're looking for the factors of 36 that add to 5. So we need to list our factors of 36. There's a lot of them. 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. And we are looking to get a positive 5. In order to get a positive 5, we need a positive 9 and a negative 4. So let's write that in. X minus 4, x plus 9. Okay, moving on to the next fraction. Now remember, this x squared minus 81 actually moved into our numerator. So when we factor that, we're going to write those factors in the numerator. Now, x squared minus 81 is a difference of squares, which we've done a couple times already. So we know we factor that with a plus and a minus. X times x is x squared. 9 times 9 is 81. And then we have the 18 minus 2x, which we should recognize that we can take out a GCF of, I'm going to actually take out a negative 2 because I want my x to come first. So negative 2x divided by negative 2 is x, and 18 divided by negative 2 is negative 9. So actually reverse the order of that one. All right, now we can go to our canceling. Looks like I have an x minus 4 that I can cancel. I can cancel this x plus 9. I can cancel this x minus 9. And my final answer is x minus 2 over negative 2.